Hi, this is Johan from Freaks and Clowns. You're watching CMS TV.
Welcome back.
And we're here. I'm. What do you call it on Instagram? Messaging.
I guess, yes.
I'm messaging, and he hit me up and said, "Yo," and I said, "Yo," and now we're there. This is one of them shows, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just the one time that you're sick and you really could use everything to go smoothly. So
I got to get him for something else too. So
I know I'm trying to get him. I'm definitely trying to get him, and I want to have him on just because I love Power Slap. I don't care what anybody. There he is. Bring him on.
There he is. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's up, boys? How you doing?
What's up, Ryan? Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, you too. What's up, guys? Nice.
There we go. Well, let us give you a proper introduction, man. On with us right now. I have been singing the praises of Power Slap for a year and a half or 2 years, whatever it's been since the initial thing was on what, TNT or TBS or whatever it was. I love the sport. Power Slap is fantastic. Ryan Phillips, is the #1 heavyweight contender right now for the Power Slap Championship. He just knocked the living shit out of his opponent. Let's recap Ryan's most recent trip to the Power Slap. This is
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Let's go!
Dude, he's about to start slapping people in the crowd.
That was my first question. Dude, what did these guys say to you 2 seconds after they just watched you take someone's head off that you were ready to go jump them in the crowd?
It was actually throughout the whole entire match. Every time I would go back in my corner, I would be seeing, I guess it was a Buffalo Bills wide receiver named Deion Dawkins.
Okay.
And he was giving me the finger and giving me the thumbs down, calling me fat, telling me I sucked. So when I knocked him out, I gave him a little taste of his medicine. Told him STFU.
Well, dude, I love the sport. I am, as I told you on Instagram, man, I love it. I have told a bunch of people, and I'm sure you've done this as well as an actual participant. You tell people about the sport, and they immediately are like, "It's fucking stupid. It's not a sport. It's just, it's barbaric. Everything under the sun wrong." To which I contend exactly what you told me. Maybe not in the same words, but you told me that it is the rebirth of the true gladiators. Come out, it's man on man. There's no art to it like boxing. It's not the sweet science. It's I'm here, you're here. Let's see who can fucking knock who hardest.
Yeah.
That being you as a contender in it, I'm sure for you there's a lot more to it. So tell us a little bit about Power Slap and how it is a competition to you and how you get yourself ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say it's not a sport, but it's pretty much clear as day a sport. I mean, it's a competition between two individuals. You get up there and, you're well, for this, it's a combat sport. You're trying to cause harm to the other person to get the win. It's for me, like I told you, you just said it. It's a rebirth of the gladiators. It's a modern day shootout, in my opinion. There's big money on the line, so this is just like a resurgence of the old days, in my opinion. There's two, no fear gladiators, the mark of their towns, the mark of their cities. Nate Bernard, who I just knocked out, great guy nonetheless, but definitely follow him in his journey. He's going to be a big thing, in the future. But his city looks up to him. Cleveland.
Sure.
I'm just coming around. You guys are from Cleveland, and people are starting to see me. That I'm the gladiator coming out of Cleveland. So, I just train real hard. I lift weights. I say steaks and weights. That's the diet. Eating iron, eating steaks. Just eating the protein and getting jacked, trying to get as strong as humanly possible so I can, stay atop the competition.
Now, people don't understand that there are rules to this. It's not like you just go up there and, slap somebody, you can club them with your there are rules to how you can actually slap somebody. What are those rules?
Right. So we have a few rules, but they're mainly come down to three. It's flinching, clubbing, and stepping. And these rules have multiple enunciations to them because with stepping, with your feet, you have to keep your feet parallel together. They have to be flat on the floor. And for instance, let's say when you make your slap, you take a step and then you slap. That's stepping. You can't step. It starts turning into a right hook rather than a slap.
Yeah.
You can pivot your foot, and that's like turning it into a punch. So that's also a step. Flinching is when you don't take the full impact of the hand as it was measured. So when someone measures up and they throw a slap and you're like this and you go away from it, that's a flinch. You get 2 for flinching. So once you have a flinch, the other person gets to slap again.
That is the pass interference of you guys' sport, because who wants to get slapped a second time, especially if you get hit hard, which you do, because I mean you may be flinching, but you're still, most of the time when people flinch, and I think I've watched literally every minute of it that has been on Rumble and on TV.
Nice.
When people flinch, first of all, they get hit in the ear, which hurts a hell of a lot more than getting hit in the face. Getting hit in that ear hurts, but then to have to do it again right away without any break, no way. That's got to be the worst, no?
Yeah, you don't want to flinch, that's for sure. And especially if you do it twice, that it turns into a point deduction, which is, really bad. And then if you do it 3 times in a row, that's a disqualification. So you actually they stop the match and they'll give the person who's not flinching the win. So
now,
right on.
Now, how difficult is it though? Because I know me. It's not like I've never been in a fight. I've been in a fight, but every time that somebody's taking a swing, my natural reaction is, "Holy shit!" I'm trying to flinch or back up or not get hit. I don't want to get hit. So how tough is it to stand there? I mean, you got to have balls of steel just to stand there and let somebody smack the shit out of you.
True. Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of guts. For me, I haven't had a problem. I don't flinch. I'll just sit there and take it. Because I've definitely been hit harder than any human being. So I know that a lot of guys, they have a lot of maybe trust issues or a lot of things going on in their head, or they don't, there's no confidence within themselves. It's a lot of mind games too. A lot of people see it as just physical, but there's a lot of spiritual and mindful things going on during the match that if you're either one way or another, it could actually turn the tides.
I have to say about you, man, you specifically, and there's a few guys that do this as well, but you, I think the most impressive thing of your game is not even the slapping at all. It's when you get really whomped hard and you don't give them anything. That would intimidate me to I've been in a zillion fights too, and I'll tell you what, if I hit somebody really hard and they're just like, okay, what's next? I'm like, all right, I'm about to get my ass kicked. How do you keep that? And I know that's a mental thing for you. How do you keep yourself from going, oh my God, and rubbing your face and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've been hit harder than any human being on this planet, so I'm already confident enough I could take this shot. When I fought Nate Bernard is a 6'4", weighing in over 265. He's usually weighing in around 300. So he had a cut weight for this fight, which I'm sure he gained all of it back during just one night of eating a lot of pasta or something. So, I wasn't afraid of it. This is something I just know I'm made for. I could take hits I've taken really hard hits from people before and kept on ticking, and ended up beating their ass. So it's just something, I guess, that I have within me that it's just I could just take it. My defense also, I've also crafted a defense towards this competition that has seemingly worked. So yeah, lucky.
Now, is this a monitored league? I mean, is it an actual sanctioned league?
Yes, sir.
That is watched by a governing body or anything like that? There's PEDs and all that kind of stuff. Regulated? How do they? What kind of regulations are?
Well, we did have we have the Nevada State Athletic Commission taking care of us right now in Nevada. But yes, it is a sanctioned sport. We also have a lot of doctors on site, and it's just it's all regulated. It's like NFL, it's getting big as the NFL or the NHL or something of that sort. With the regulations, and it's definitely here to stay. It's a big sport.
Is that Dana White at your door right now?
No, it's a bunch of kids trying to sell me something, but they're gonna have to.
Wait. Slap the shit out of them.
I'm not doing that.
Well, Ryan, I did want to ask you too. As somebody that watched the first season, and I'm a fan of UFC too, so I've watched a ton of seasons of the UFC, Ultimate Fighter as well. They tend to make celebrities out of guys, and they tried to do that in the first season with you guys. But I actually think in a lot of cases with the first season of Power Slap, it actually hurt. And I'll point to AJ Hinz as one example. They built him up to be unstoppable, and then he's been stopped a couple of times now. And it's like, I almost wonder if by you kind of not being one of those featured main guys that they were in, 30 of the 40 minutes of the shows, if that actually helped you. Do you think it did because it left you a little off the radar?
No, well, what happened with me was I got pretty injured during the show itself,
right.
So that took me out for quite a bit and put me in the role of a coach. So I was a corner for about four or five of the Power Slap cards. But with me, they did push me. I mean, I was in the first episode with the one-eyed wolf fight, and then my episode with Dwayne, it did cover the injury, and it covered our fight as well. People see me right now as the dark horse, but honestly, it's just because up until Darius, I haven't been able to really fight at 100% or near 100% healthy. So this is just me getting healthier, and this is what I've been supposed to do for quite some time now.
I'm not trying to pry or anything, but how's the money for a sport like this? Is it getting bigger?
Yeah, there's people who train all their lives that wish they can make the money that we're making right now.
That's good, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how much do you train a day, a week? I mean, do you train every day, a couple of hours, or?
Well, I was training 3 times a week for the most part. With the injury, I had to slow it down, and I was doing physical therapy and nothing too strenuous. But when I was going full force before the Road to the Title 1 season, I was going 5 times a week, sometimes 2 a days, just going crazy. And I was really, really into it. But now that I'm fighting for the championship belt, that's going to come back.
Sure. So it's going to be what, you and Damian DeBell? Is that correct?
Let's hope so. It has nothing official yet, but that's what the stars are aligning to.
Oh, I mean, he's the belt holder, right? He's the belt holder. You're the number 1 guy. I would think that's the next Power Slap 7 headline, right?
You would hope. Let's see, man. You never know. They can play some tricks on you. So, but yeah, my fingers are crossed. I got Damian the Bell. I'm about to ring the bell and bring the belt back to Cleveland, baby.
Now, do you ever get all right, see, now this is what I pictured. Guys see you on TV slapping shit out of people, and they go, I can take this guy. So some drunk ass at a bar says, all right, let me see if we can take a slap from me. You have dumbasses that try to challenge you and stuff?
Oh, yeah, all the time. It's, it's hard to hurt their ego and tell them, you probably don't want to take a slap from me. But it comes up every now and then.
Jesus. Dude, how happy, and if you're not happy, say this too, but I'm going to assume you're happy about the fact that the leader of Power Slap, and obviously UFC as well, is Dana White, who is so outspoken about not caving into woke culture, to speech culture. He's like, I'm going to let my guys be my guys. And that's just the way it goes. And he takes tons of heat, probably a whole lot more than any of you guys do. He takes a ton of heat for things that are said by the fighters, and he brunts that so that you guys don't have to. I have to imagine that's encouraging in a sport like this where it's all adrenaline based and where you might say some stupid shit in the heat of battle. In the heat of the battle, you not like you knocked that dude out and you're ready to fight the whole crowd because you're super, super hyped up. If you had an owner that was like pulling you aside after and saying, well, we're going to fine you $5,000 and we're not going to let you fight for 3 fights or something, that would suck, no?
Yeah, that would definitely suck. Luckily the environment that we're surrounded by is full of alcohol and I'm sure there's marijuana or something. But there's a lot of stuff going on in the crowd. But it was a lot of fun, man. For our first event to have the crowd there like that and just having that interaction is pretty wild.
Sure. Now, do you think that Power Slap is going to stay its own entity? And I'll give you a scenario, which is me making it up. So it's not something I read or something. It's literally me making it up.
Sure.
But I personally think it would grow the sport faster. It would make so much sense to me if they integrated Power Slap into UFC fights so that you would get a bigger audience, you would get more eyes on it, and have, as well as I do, I'm sure you've watched the UFC a million times too, there's a lot of dead time between fights. It would be great if the fight ends, a UFC fight ends, the podium comes up, they bring you guys in, boom, you do the walk-in, everything's all set up, and have like 3 or 4 Power Slap matches in between the 4 or 5 fights in the main card of, UFC 305 or whatever.
Well, first of all, it would be kind of amazing to see the table come up through the octagon. Now that would be
True.
Crazy. You know what I mean? That right in of itself would be a whole dawn of a new era.
Sure.
Seeing the table come up from the octagon. But I'm not sure. I don't know if that could happen or not. The only thing we have connected to the UFC is Dana White.
Right.
I think the investors are different. I know WME is a large stakeholder in the UFC themselves, so they have really nothing to do with Power Slap. That relationship with Dana White and the UFC, you never know. As you can tell, they're kind of putting on events before big UFC events because our next event is coming up before UFC 300. So, I don't know. You might see a Power Slap match in between fights at some point. There might be like a prelim of a Power Slap on a card to, just drive us a little bit more forward. But really, we're steamrolling ahead as is without it. So,
right on. Dude, tell me, and this, I don't know where she came from. I don't know anything about her. Tell me about Nina Drama.
Oh, Nina, yeah. Nina is she's a very awesome person. She's very sweet.
She's a wild card.
She does a great job with just being personable and coming off personable in her interviews, and that's her. That's actually her. When you talk to her off camera, she's like that. You know what I mean? She's very sarcastic, and she's just cool to be around. And yeah, she's a joy to have. And I know she gets a lot of hate from the fans, but I mean, she's great at her job, man. She does a great job.
I can't imagine how anybody could hate her. I know in the last Power Slap that you were on, in Power Slap 6, she had like probably a 20-25 minute run there in the middle, kind of. I don't know if it was like between the prelims and the featured fights, but she went like 25 minutes and she was talking to YouTube guys and rappers and Charles Barkley and she had everybody saying wild shit. And I was just like, damn, this is new. This is different. I loved it personally. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it seems like we can get away with a lot more, being that we're not on like television or
Right.
we're on Rumble. You know, Rumble's a free speech advocate, and like you were saying, Dana White himself is a free speech advocate. Which, you know, to answer your question on that as well, you know, it isn't that hard to be pro free speech or to stay on the line of, you know, what's right, because we're losing our human rights and we're losing, you know, our amendments and things of that sort at a very fast rate, and a lot of people don't realize it. So sticking up for what's been the norm or should be the norm is kind of easy, in my opinion. If anyone said to me that I would have to say something or speak a different way, it's a big fuck you from me. I'll give them the finger all day. It's easy.
I hear you, man. Dude, who's hit you the hardest?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is a good question. So, first of all, the guy in the mosh pit at Peabody's back like maybe like 10 years ago, he knocked me out. He's like 400 pounds. He punched me in the back of the head. He actually knocked me out. That's the only time I've ever been knocked out in my life. So that guy. Okay. But in Power Slap, you know, you got the one-eyed wolf who he was throwing some speedballs at my face. Those things were crazy. Dwayne, he did a lot of damage, but I wouldn't say he hit hard. And I don't mean that out of disrespect, but he did a ton of damage to me. Darius didn't hit hard. He didn't have any shoes on, so that's where that's at. And Nate's, I don't know. My defense was so good that I did not feel Nate's hits. Although when I got hit with the second one, it kind of blinded my eye, which was pretty weird. But yeah, I came back from it. So I'd say the one-eyed wolf was the hardest hitter so far.
Now, is it a lot of technique or is it muscle? I mean, can anybody just get up there and slap the hell out of somebody, or does it take a lot of technique to do it?
Yeah, it takes a lot of technique and it takes a lot of precision as well. Like I said in previous interviews, you know, I give it up to my years of playing video games for my awesome hand-eye coordination. But I'm deadly accurate with my right hand. And when it comes to that, you know, no one else can touch it. And I can just throw it as hard as I can, and it'll always be on target.
See, I was going to say something totally different with Deadeye with my right hand, but not video games.
Woo!
That's a totally different show. Totally different show, my friends.
Hey, real men do in the shower.
Yeah, right. Well, dude, tell people about your podcast as well, so that people can tune into that, and because it's a fun show, and you guys don't hold anything back there, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and yeah, it's called Barefisted Podcast. We do it. We used to do it every Thursday night, but we're thinking about doing it every Sunday because we have 4 guys, and it seems like the schedule just works better for a Sunday night. And everyone's probably in their PJs anyway, ready to go to sleep so they can catch some barefisted. But it's just a bunch of Power Slap guys. It's me, Disturbing the Peace, Dorian Perez, number, I think, 3 ranked heavyweight now, or 4 ranked. We got John Davis, who's the middleweight champion, also from Cleveland area. And we also have Devin the Dapper Slapper, Schwan. Almost call him Schlong to kill me. But he's a bare knuckle fighter, and he should be coming back to Power Slap soon. He had some medical stuff going on, so he should be coming back. But it's a good show. We just bullshit, basically. We have some guests on from time to time, whether it be other Power Slap athletes or, you know, any sort of combat sport veteran, Street Beefs. We're affiliated with Street Beefs as well. But yeah, it's just a good time. Come check us out. Barefisted Podcast on all major platforms. We're on Instagram at Barefisted Podcast, YouTube at Barefisted Podcast, Rumble, and Twitch. And we're also now, our Facebook also streams live, so you can check us out there.
Cool. Very cool, man. Well, dude, when is, if you know, when is Power Slap 7, and are you a participant in it?
Nothing has been said to me yet, but Power Slap 7 is April 12th. It's the day before UFC 300.
Well, wouldn't they be telling you by now? I mean, it's only, 6 weeks away.
And that's fine. And honestly, the longer I wait, the better it is, because not only do I want to fight for the title, but I also want to be a coach for the next season of the Road to the Title. Okay. And I think me and the Bell being the champion, me being the guy who's going to challenge him, would be a great duo for coaching.
And when do they start that up?
A little birdie in the sky. I'm not too sure if I should say, but a little birdie in the sky says May.
Okay. Very good, man. Well, as I told you before, dude, and I've been selling on every show that I do, I love Power Slap. I don't.
Yeah.
Everybody that wants to hate it, go ahead. Tell me I'm a fucking child for watching it. I don't care. I love it. I love it. I love the UFC. I love boxing. The more violent, the better. That's what I say. And, you know, people can say, this is my editorial here, people can say whatever they want to say about it, but until you go out there and do it, you really don't get an opinion. That's how I look at it, is you want to say it's not a sport. Here's a guy that I'm sure would be more than willing to show you what it's about.
You know it. It's the people that don't watch it and don't give it a chance are the ones that are talking all this stuff. So they just need to sit down, strap in, stay tuned, get entertained, and just, leave the hate at the door.
Yeah. And the one thing I think that is overlooked, and maybe it's overlooked because of YouTube, tell me if you think this is true or not. I think people have seen a lot of some of these, like, other country versions of it, like the Lithuania ones or the Russian ones. And I mean, that's different than what you guys do. I mean, those guys with their 23, I mean, they just go until somebody's unconscious. And some of them, their faces are all deformed and they're, 35 rounds or something. They're beating the hell out of each other. Yeah. This is much, I don't want to say civilized, because I guess it's never civilized to whack somebody in the face, but what you guys do is a lot more organized and a lot more standardized, I guess. And I don't see why anybody has a problem. I don't understand why people are okay with boxing but not okay with what you guys are doing. You guys are taking less hits to the head. To me, it's safer.
It's true. I mean, I came out of my last 2 matches uninjured at all. Like, there was maybe a bruise, and that was it for me. And same for my opponents. They were okay. Nate, unfortunately, got dazed twice in a big way. But he's all right. He's fine. He didn't have to go to the hospital or anything. He was okay. So we've had guys who have gone 30 fights and are still fine. They can talk perfectly fine. They can do arithmetic. They can do, standing in a straight line. They pass all tests. So people hating on us, hate all you want. But it is more. If you're comparing the Romanians to us, it is more civilized. That's a great word for it. We're a lot more civilized. We have more rules. We're more safety oriented. We have doctors, nurses, and professional healthcare all around. Different doctors too, not just 1 or 2. We have like 3 or 4. So we're very safe, and we're definitely ready to make a big blow into the professional sports scene.
The Classic Metal Show now has all of our videos on Spotify. Simply look up and subscribe to the CMS Network on Spotify, and you'll get the audio and video podcasts each day from the Classic Metal Show. It's never been easier to listen to Mealy and Chris, so simply open Spotify, subscribe to the CMS Network, and enjoy the Classic Metal Show every single day. Hail and kill.